Hello everyone, we are on day 6 of squares for quadrilaterals for geometry. So let's get started and write down what is a square. It's a parallelogram. Parallelogram. There we go. With 4 congruent sides. So what is a parallelogram? And then add to it with the congruent sides. So parallelogram means that there's 2 sets of parallel sides, and now that they are all congruent. So all of the sides are congruent, and it also has 4 right angles. Okay? All right, now we're going to do some examples about identifying the different types and how we can do that. All right, so we're going to identify them: quadrilateral, parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, trapezoid, kite, or square, or none of the above. Okay, so now we need to look at our identifications. So it looks like we have all congruent sides and 2 right angles. Okay, so if those are right and all the sides are congruent, therefore it is a square. Okay, all right, for the next one, let's look now. So look at the dashes. These are 2 dashes, and these are only 1 dash. So that means that the sides are not congruent, but we have the 90 degrees. So therefore it is a rectangle. Okay. All right, the next one. Is there any identifications? Is there sides? Is there angles that are identified? No. So all we can say it is a quadrilateral, because there's no other information that we can talk about. Okay. All right, the next one. What information do they have? Well, it looks like the opposite angles are congruent. Okay. So we have that, and we have something about this diagonal. Okay, so which one is talking about the opposite angles being congruent? Well, that is a parallelogram. The angles are not 90 degrees, so we can't say it's a square. We don't know anything about the sides, just about the angles. So therefore, that's what we can write. All right, the next one. It only says one pair of angles is congruent. It doesn't say anything about these 2. So now I can only say that it is a kite. Okay, so what information did they give you? So then you can prove what type of quadrilateral it is. Okay, now let's talk about this one. So these symbols do not mean congruent. They mean that they are parallel. Okay, it's not a parallelogram because there's only 1 set. This is called a trapezoid. So 1 pair of parallel lines. So given that the figure to the right is a square, what can I do? Find the length of the side. So what does a square mean? A square means that these 2 are congruent. So we're going to make them equal to each other and solve. So I'm going to subtract x, and I'm going to add 14. So x equals 29. And then it says find the length of the side. Well, I need to plug it back in. So 29 plus 15 equals 44. And because it's a square, all sides are 44. Okay? All right, 2. The quadrilateral below is a square. Solve for x and y. So again, all of these are congruent. So let's see what we can do. Well, nothing is equal. Nothing else has an x involved. So we need to make two other sides congruent, which means that we can make them equal to each other. Okay? So I have 2y minus 2 and y plus 4. So 2y minus 2 equals y plus 4. So I'm going to subtract y and add 2, so y equals 6. So can I plug 6 in for here? No, but I can plug it into the rest of these and see what's up. So 6 plus 4 should be 10. 16 minus 6 is 10. 2 times 6 is 12 minus 2, which is also 10. So if all these sides are 10, this side also has to be 10. So I'm going to make it equal to 10, add 10 to both sides, and divide by 5. So x equals 4 and y equals 6. Okay, so when do you have to plug in and when do you need to just find out what the variables are worth? So looking to see what is equal to each other based on what type of quadrilateral we got. So squares are pretty easy. Everything is equal. Yahoo! All right, so if it is a square, then we can say that all the angles are 90 degrees. So SQU, so it says SQU is 90 degrees. UEQ, so again, UEQ, well, that's this inside part. And then we have SQE. SQE. Well, SQE is half the size, correct? So SQE is only this little portion. Well, what's half of 90? Well, that's 45 degrees. So right now I have those two angles, and then we can go from there. And something also to say about squares, which we can include on the front. Okay, we can say that the diagonals are perpendicular bisectors. So if you ever see this symbol, this means perpendicular, okay? Okay, so I'm going to add to it. So I have this line, and they make 90 degrees also. Squares are just magical that way, okay? So the diagonals are congruent, and they're also perpendicular bisectors. So that's important, because if I want this angle right here, SEQ, that is also 90 degrees. The diagonal makes 90-degree angles. All four of these are also 90 degrees. So when you think square, I want you to think things are congruent and things are 90 degrees. UEQ is the same idea. It's this one right here. Think about what is the middle letter. The middle letter, again, is your vertex of your angle, okay? All right, now let's talk about our sides, y'all. Well, it says RE. RE is 16. Okay, so how is that going to help us with the rest of this beautiful information? Okay, so I'm going to erase so I can see what's up. Now I'm going to talk sides. So RE is 16. So what do they want me to find? Well, they want me to find EQ. Well, and this is what a beautiful thing too. These are congruent. So EQ is also 16 degrees. Or not 16 degrees, 16. Just 16 millimeters. Here we go. So degrees are here, Robinson. And now we're talking about our sides. All right, so EU. EU is also in the middle, my lovely geometry kids. So EU is also 16. Now let's talk about SU. All right, now let's talk about SU. So I want to figure out this whole side. So, if SU, if this is 16 and this is 16, add those together and you get 32. All right, now how am I going to figure out what RU is? Well, at the beginning of this unit, we talked about Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, so let me highlight what I'm looking at. So I have this triangle right here, and I know this is 90 degrees. So I have 16 and 16, and I need to figure out what the hypotenuse is. So I have 16 squared plus 16 squared equals c squared, because I don't know what this side is. That side is RU. RU is the hypotenuse, okay? So I'm going to figure out what that is. I'm going to solve that problem. So 256 plus 256. So add those together and you get 512, which equals c squared. And then I'm going to square root both sides. And the square root of 512 is 16 root 2. Because 512 I can take out. I can take out a 256 and a 2. So the square root of 256 is 16. And then the 2 stays inside. Okay, so if you know what the diagonals are, you know what these numbers are, you can always find out what any side is by using Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, because again, we have that 90 degrees and across the way is the hypotenuse. So if these are the same, like if these are both A and A, you can always find out what the hypotenuse is. All right, thank you so much for joining me on day 6. Work on your practice problems or your home fun and have a great day.